Well, that one did just stick and come off in my hand, so I'm gonna have to repaint this Pop-Tart. And do we just go ahead and repaint the other one at that point? I think, yeah. See, I did a magic trick there. I was licking it under my hand. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm in my own kitchen, and today I'm going to be making a bootleg action figure of Claire Saffitz from Bon Appetit. A bootleg action figure is exactly what it sounds like. It's an action figure that is made a lot of times of an already existing, like Star Wars or other 3 3/4 inch action figure. The sort of like grandfather of it all is a guy named Sucklord. I bought this from him. I got to meet him. Bravo, the TV network, had a reality show called Work of Art, and he was a contestant on season 2, and I was like, whoa, that's so cool. And then this was my first foray into it, a David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust R2-D2 combination called Star 2D2. So I decided to make Claire Saffitz action figure. So I went down a rabbit hole trying to find the perfect base figure. I immediately thought of Rogue from the X-Men because they have the same awesome iconic streak in their hair. Didn't find a great Rogue, but I stayed on the X-Men train, and I found a pretty good Star Wars size 3 3/4 inch Kitty Pryde. I ordered her on eBay, and look what just arrived. She has like just about the exact right kind of hair. Her proportions are super exaggeratedly feminine. Is that okay to say? Her joints are really hyper articulated. She's got shoulder rotate and an elbow rotate. That's a lot of work, and I am not gonna go into that because I would love to finish this in 3 days. Is that, I think that's possible, but
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We're making Claire. She has a wonderfully like moonstruck silver streak in her hair, which makes her the perfect one for a replica in miniature form because you'd be able to recognize her from a mile away. She wears great clothes, like really awesome, like muted colors. I really like this pink and the gray apron. She always makes a gourmet version of a classic junk food. Do I need to make like mini food? Now it's time for my favorite part, listing all of the tools and materials that I need. A base action figure, Sculpey clay, sculpting tools, disposable gloves, stirring sticks, mixing cups, Smooth On Umu 30, paint, pigment for the plastic, and the plastic itself, Smooth Cast 325. That's it. So the first thing I need to do is use this clay, the Sculpey, to lock up all the joints to keep them from moving all over the place when the liquid rubber forms around it when I make the mold. The shoulder here, and you can maybe get a shot of that, and like under the arm, I want to make sure that it has some heft to it just because I'm gonna have to pull this out of a mold and I don't want like the arm to break off as I pull it out. I think probably smarter and more seasoned bootleg toy people would maybe take the arms off and mold them separately. I am not smart and I want to do this all at once. I've added, in fact I'm doing it right now, these sort of frilly, fringy shoulder shirt details and the same kind of around the wrist to go with that look. I need to capture, just from the front side, the apron, you know, you put it on over your head and then you tie it back. So you have the pull of the apron under your arm. I just remembered I want to make Pop-Tarts. It's really funny that this doll has her hand in like that shape because that's about how wide a Pop-Tart is in a hand, so I'm going to use her hand width. Those ones I might throw in the oven. My next step is to build a box for the mold. Think of it like an ice cube tray, kind of. Ah, fresh hot Pop-Tarts. You pour water into an ice cube tray and then it hardens, but I'm making the ice cube tray. I'm gonna take this foam core. I'm gonna make a 5-sided box with a floor and 4 walls, and then open on the top so I can pour rubber in and create, like I said, sort of like an ice cube tray. The boxes are done, got the little Pop-Tarts in there, you got clear in this box. We've got Umu 30, which is a 2-part rubber mixture, and it's 1-to-1 by volume. So if you put this much blue in, you put that much pink in, the yellow is pink, and then you stir it around until it is perfectly purple. No streaks, you want them to come together for them to bond. Here it goes. Someone might use a better rubber than this that'll hold more, it'll make more casts before it fails. They also might use a like pressure pot where you can create a vacuum. You've maybe seen them, they could look kind of like this. And I don't have those things, and you don't need it, it just makes it a little more perfect of a mold and of a cast. It's also pretty forgiving. Bye Claire, see you on the other side. The molds are poured. So now it's just up to the fates to decide if it cures nicely, if it demolds easily, but we've got the Pop-Tarts in here, we've got the Claire in here, and we're gonna go to bed and we're gonna check these out in the morning and see if we've got ourselves some viable mold. I really hope we do. Okay, it's day 2. We have our cured molds. I can tell that they are tough to the touch. Let's crack them open, shall we? This is why some people use things like Legos to make their mold boxes, because foam board you have to just kind of tear apart. So you're just seeing the top bit there where the hot glue was on, but this is a full Pop-Tart mold. Time to crack open the big guy. Got a little carried away with the hot glue. I wanted to make sure that it was airtight. But this is crazy! Awesome. So that's her feet. I have to get pretty clever here to make it 2 parts, or 1 part that pries open, is to cut it zigzag so that it keys back together. You know, if it's 2 perfect rectangles, you might be off when you make the cast, but if they are kind of zigzag, it'll lock together. There we go. So I got her out of the mold. The mold snaps back great. It looks just like it was when I took it out of the box, but it has these nice teeth on either side. Now it's time to cast the plastic into the mold. I have a Smooth-On 325. Smoothcast 325 is clear, and it allows you to add pigment to it. This stuff is, I guess, really saturated and strong. I have not used it yet. The setup for this, I have these blocks that I've used a bunch before. I'm gonna put one on either side, rubber band it, so that the mold stays closed. So it's telling me to do it into 2 separate cups. I'm gonna not do that, I think, just because this is like a small one that works really nicely. Because I like this shirt, I'm going to put on one that I don't care so much about. We going?
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot this. This might help me. It might do nothing, but it is nice. It's basically cooking spray for molds, for things to pop out. Universal mold release. So I'm gonna just get a little bit in the shoe hole. I probably should have sprayed the whole inside before I put this together, but that'll help it some. You know what? Forget it. I'll spray the inside. I got a little eyedropper thingy. I'm gonna do my part B. Again, I'm gonna kind of guess. Once these 2 parts mix together, I only have about like 3 or 4 minutes to get it completely poured into the mold before it starts to harden. As soon as I pour this in here, it's gonna start reacting. It actually gets kind of hot. Gotta kind of rock it around and get into all the little crevices, let it kind of like squish it a little bit. So I poured way too much. I'm gonna try to get some of this out of the cup to make my life a little easier. Yeah, see, look at how it was like liquid just only a minute ago. Now it looks like a sick tongue. That looks so gross. It's a shame that this is all wasted. This probably could have been 2 more action figures. I should have maybe gotten another mold over here, but I thought I was estimating pretty close and I was not. Oh my god, this is wild. This will become hard eventually, but like... Okay, the tongue test is, this one's starting to break here just because I was messing with it, but it's pretty hard now. It has a little bit of give to it still, but that might just be what this plastic is like. I'm gonna start taking these guys out. We'll start with the Pop-Tarts. Oh. So, that didn't work. One of them looks okay, the other one is just like bad altogether. Let's get the big one. I need to be a little more careful pulling this out than I was with the actual action figure because it might still be a little flexy. Yeah, the glove was a real error. I touched one with my glove because I wanted to like poke it in and then my glove got stuck and I had to take my glove off onto the mold. Oh no, she doesn't have a hand. Well, it was close. Looking in the mold to see if she does have that left hand. Oh, brother. So, this is one of the things I was most worried about. See the neck? How it's just, there's all sorts of new flesh in the front. You know, there's the hole behind her hair, there's void space there. So, she also has these like weird bubbles in her hair. She's got bubbles all over herself too. And this is gonna be really tough to do anything about. Her arm is like stuck to her body. See that area right there? The only option I have right now is to try this mold again. We'll chalk this one up as a failure, but a close call. Let's set up a second one. Really the only difference is pour it a little slower and keep it working and moving and kind of keep it pouring in slowly. I got a second one poured. This was my tongue, again, from the first one, all the plastic that I misunderestimated or overestimated, and this is my tongue from the second one, so it's better. It's a better loss ratio. I'd like it to be 0, but this might be as good as I'll get today. Hopefully better than the first batch, and in the meantime, they'll need packaging to go into, so I'm gonna start designing the card back that the packaging will all be put together on. So I mostly have this done. I took a photo I found. I'm trying to match the color scheme to a different outfit of hers. So I'll put the action figure in, you know, on the board, put this over the top. In fact, we can put it about real size. So it'll sit like that, you know, on the card. And then under original and gourmet, I'm gonna put the 2 little Pop-Tarts. And then this will be where I put, like, this is a 1 of 10 or, you know, whatever. So once I'm done with this, I'll get them printed out, we'll cut them, and we'll put them on chipboard, cardboard, to make the hard card back. If this one fails the same way that one fails, then that means it's a bad mold. Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to do it?
No. Oh, I didn't even spray the mold release, so this one might be like even more stuck. Oh, she has kind of a hand where she didn't last time, but
I feel like you're birthing a baby.
Mm-hmm. Oh, damn it.
No hands.
And still a big neck goiter.
What are all those bubbles from?
I don't know. It is having a lot of the same problems as the first mold. She still doesn't have a left hand. She also doesn't have a right hand this time. I think this mold might just have to be remade. That's like a lot of work. And I don't really want to do all that work.
Yeah, but it seemed like this didn't work.
Yeah. It is day 3. I had to rework the sculpture a little bit. I made her arms from being out to being up against her body, so she's a little more monolithic. I did the same to the apron. It's not just like a sheer piece of fabric, it's like a solid mass. Demolding mold number 2. If this one doesn't work, I will need to buy more rubber. I'm gonna have to do the same thing I did yesterday, cutting it open. That's not great. Her head is stuck in the mold. She does not have a head here. There she is. It looks okay. The first pour that I do, the first cast, will probably pull out the rest of the clay. The plastic will bond to the clay. The model held up a lot better this time because I really, really reinforced it. Other than, of course, her head falling off. So I don't know exactly what I did here, but it's really, really, really bubbly. It might be that I tried to do too many half-assed things at once, but I saw on Instagram yesterday, of all days, someone doing this trick. Instead of using a vacuum-sealed pressure pot, they agitated their mold with like a vibrating, oscillating tool, and I have a vibrating tool as well. It's called a toothbrush. Now, this is the first cast of this new mold. This was a bad cast all around, so if it comes out great, that's awesome. If it fails in any way, I'm not gonna deem this mold a complete failure until I can do another pour that wasn't half-assed.
Yay!
That is an unmitigated, mostly success.
Wow.
She's got some flashing, she's full of bubbles, so I will be more careful with the next one, but this could, oh my god, it is full of bubbles. So I am calling this mold successful. What I'm hoping to be the perfect first casting is in the mold. In the meantime, let's talk about the packaging. I'll take these. So I already cut these. I think we showed that. We are showing it now. This is gonna be the front and the back of the card that holds the action figure, as if it were, you know, on a shelf at a toy store. I have spray adhesive. I've got my backside of my card, and then I've got this chipboard right here. That'll be the card itself. It's windy. I'm gonna make a thin coat of glue on this card here, and then quickly put the paper on top. Other than it being a little messy, this one's okay. I'll be able to cut off the edges that you can kind of see later. But then again, I have one of these guys. It'll go like this. Here, I'll use the first one from yesterday. So I'll glue dot the Pop-Tarts above her head, and then she'll sit in there like that. Time to take out the first perfect cast. Oh yeah, it's nice and slippery. She looks beautiful. The imperfections on her are imperfections from my clay model making skills. Painting the face is gonna really suck. It's so small, but this is good. This is yay. This is very good. I'll cut off her little toy soldier foot. I'll make, you know, 9 more of these, and then that'll be all the casting I have to do. I'm gonna go set up my kind of painting area, and we can get going on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to salvage this one. That'll be a pain. And cut off the flashing and excess of this one and this one as well. Sand them and start the painting process. I got my electric toothbrush and some really soapy water. I'm gonna try to get the rest of that mold release off. So I'm probably gonna paint the apron a dark, either a black or a dark gray first. I'm gonna take all the casts that I've made and get them to this level, maybe even do a little more painting, and then we'll pick up again next week when I'm doing more detail work. The mold looks great, and it's still behaving well. So yeah, details next. It is week 2, it's day 4, and we left off with a bunch of new casts of the model, and I began painting. I have a base coat on one. I kind of started on another. This is the weird foot one I used as a test for face. I knew that painting the face was going to be something I would have to do, and I didn't think about how incredibly difficult it was going to be. And also, I'm not really great at painting, like painting details. But the paintbrushes that I had are all cheap and crappy, so I went ahead and got a new set of miniature painting paintbrushes that you might use on like D&D minis. Because I'm scared of the face details, I'm going to paint the Pop-Tarts right now because they ought to be easier to just kind of get going, get warmed up. I think I might need to put a second coat on it.
Are you gonna do, is the outline, are you gonna paint it?
No, that's this color.
Oh.
That's actually why I kept the flesh color as the color. And then I think we'll take the sprinklage and the faces and the details and everything else I have to do over to the seated position so it's a little more comfortable. Thanks for your input.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna start with the like upper eyelash lid. But I know we already looked at her, but she kind of has the little like cat eyeliner going on. I will then paint the white of the eye over the top of it so it'll be a little finer. Okay, this is the part that I'm the least excited about. It is the eyebrow, and I have to be very skinny with it. Whoa! Wow! I am very psyched about that. I'm gonna keep rolling because I have the right amount of paint apparently. There. Okay, I'm not touching it anymore. I'm gonna now just really quickly, since I gave myself this little blob of brown and the whites are probably dry now, to just go. So now, if I miss either direction or in any direction on her eye on this second one, it'll look like she's like, dude, I'm very happy with this. She does look a little bit like this, and not just like, but like, sometimes she is that way. Sometimes when she has to temper chocolate, it's a little bit like, I have some really dark gray paint that I'm gonna do a test of the sort of streak. And then it'll also be a base. It'll kind of gradient when I use the actual white. It'll look a little more kind of cool and natural. So here we go. That's it, man. It is just like a kind of a simple coat of these basic colors, and then the details are really in the face. I'm not gonna go crazy on the rest of this because I'm done with this one, and to get the rest of them up to this level is just gonna be a lot of work. So I'm gonna call this one done, and we just need to put it in the assembly with the packaging and everything. I'm gonna now use this rounded corner clipper that'll just kind of give a cute little scallop to the corner. Now, I am gonna cut the Pop-Tarts free from their flashing here. Jeez. I have these little glue dots that I'm gonna put on the bottom of the Pop-Tart. Okay, one moment please, folks. Hey, it's got on it. Glue dot is on. Last pieces. Action figure and the blister, putting it all together. I am gonna super glue the corners and plop it on. I'm gonna be very careful, of course. That's not great. Maybe that's why people tape it. But all in all, I'm happy. So now I have to kind of find the balancing point. It's right about there. And I'm gonna poke a hole in it. Molly's on the backside here, and she's gonna get her head poked a little bit, I think. There you have it. I'm really happy with how the hair and the eyes and face turned out. I'm not super psyched about these little glue circles, that very last step that I just did, so I might get some tape for the rest of them. But this is number 1 of 10. And I think it looks awesome.
It looks so great.
Thanks.
Those little Pop-Tarts. Oh my god, look at all those tiny sprinkles. Why'd you put it off center?
What? So it'll be even when it's held. If the thing were here,
Holy God.
I'm not gonna do a volume check. I don't know what I'm talking about. Actually, strike that. No, unstrike it. I'm gonna eyeball it.